Happy Friday, guys, and welcome to episode 23 of the Blue Mouse Podcast. My name's Emily. I'm the full-time knitwear designer behind the Blue Mouse. So yeah, this is a knitting podcast with a little bit of a focus on knitwear design. So I don't have a whole lot to share with you today in terms of actual knitting content. I've spent pretty much the entire week on the computer just working on patterns and grading and getting newsletters ready and sending out stuff to testers, so not a whole lot of actual knitting content, but let's see what we have. So let's see, I'm actually wearing one of my finished objects from a couple weeks ago. It's my Murin sweater. So it's a little bit of a v-neck, 3/4 length sleeves, and a split hem. So I made this using Durarum Natura Gilead yarn. Let's see, I have some here somewhere. This is the yarn in a different color. And I always pronounce the name wrong, so I'm sorry. But yeah, I finished this a while ago and I just blocked it and got it all washed and finished and got some photos of it, and it is off to testing. I actually need a few testers for some of the larger sizes, so I'll put the information in the description if you're interested. So yeah, finished that. I did a lot of blocking this week. This sweater, that striped DK weight sweater, and a couple socks. So it's always nice to have that done. So I'll do a review of these like sweater drying racks that I bought on Amazon. They're a little bit raised off the ground and they're like this mesh like fabric over top of it so that you get air on the top and the bottom of the sweater and it dries so much faster. It doesn't really fit the sweater very well, but I don't know. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll probably have seen pictures of it. I'll do a full review after I've spent some time actually using it. So yeah, that's what I'm wearing. It'll be out probably the 3rd week of July is what I'm aiming for. If the testers need more time for like the larger sizes, it might end up being the last week in July, but I'll let you know when we get closer to that. Another thing that I finished is a sock, and this is one of my Glimmer socks. It's a pattern that I have for beginner sock knitters. In a really dark black yarn from Autumn and Indigo. I believe this is just like her classic sock base. So it's just a really simple sock made with like a ribbed stitch and a heel flap and gusset. So yeah, very simple. I started this months ago as a gift for a friend of mine, and it just got buried in a basket full of whips, and I needed something really simple and mindless to work on over the week in between working on math. So I just picked this up and finished it, and I have cast on the second sock already. So same thing, just a simple rib, and I always do my socks magic loop, well, almost every time, but it's my favorite method. And so I tried something different when I blocked these socks, because as I mentioned last episode, when I use the sock blockers, they kind of stretch out the socks and then they're too big for my feet. So what I did is I let these dry about 3/4 of the way done, and then I pulled them off and let them lay flat to dry. So I actually just had the windows open the other day because it's really hot and I had so much drying in this room that I knew that it would just fill with hot air and dry a lot faster. So I put this and one other sock, which is somewhere, oh, it's here, and another sock I was drying, one on each sock blocker next to the window, and let them dry 75% of the way done, and then pulled them off and put them just on the drying rack to finish drying. So this is the other sock that I did, which is a free pattern that'll be coming out in July. You saw this last episode, I believe, but this is just the blocked version. So it definitely is not as loose when I did it that way. So I might do that in the future. It doesn't look as nice as the fully washed and blocked socks that I did last week, but it'll hopefully fit better. So it looks a little bit thinner and longer, but it'll stretch out to fit your foot better. So yeah, I have those two done and working on another second sock for this pair of Glimmer socks for a friend of mine. And I'm hoping to gift it to her with a couple of baby knits because she is actually pregnant and due in August, I want to say. So lots of baby knits are about to be made for friends of mine. So speaking of that, actually, I have another baby blanket. So I started this and I'm inconveniently in the middle of a row. Sorry about that. But this is the same pattern that I was working on for the last baby blanket. It's just my new free Glen Echo baby blanket pattern. So it's a garter and twisted rib pattern. Kind of gets blown out, but you can see it. Very simple, easy, corner to corner blanket. So I don't really enjoy knitting twisted rib, so I made the twisted rib section really short. It's only 4 rows and then just a bunch of garter in between. So the idea behind a corner to corner blanket is you start at one corner and you start with a few stitches and you increase to the middle point that you want, and then you start decreasing so it creates a square. So yeah, this is using I Love This Cotton, which is a yarn brand from Hobby Lobby. It's my favorite baby blanket cotton to use because it's incredibly soft and incredibly affordable. I think it's only like maybe less than $4 a ball, which is great. So I can get a baby blanket out of that for like under $30, which is awesome. And finally, the last thing I've been working on, and I don't even really feel right saying I've been working on it because the only time I worked on it was yesterday. I did a little bit of short row shaping and then I put it down because I was kind of bored. So this is my Dresa sweater by Knit Love Wool, and the only thing I've done is separate for the sleeves and work a little bit of short row shaping in the back. And now I'm on the body section, and I'm working a little bit before I start the waist shaping, which I've never done. So it's just stockinette in the round. And since I'm not crazy about the yarn, it's Knit Picks Wool of the Andes, I'm not as excited to work with it. I find that's a really big contributing factor when I'm working on projects. If I like the yarn, I'm way more inclined to work on the project than if I'm just like, don't really like the yarn. So that one will probably take me a while. So I don't really remember what I was just talking about. My husband called right after I finished filming that section, and he's on tour, so we talked for like over an hour, and now I have no idea what we were just talking about on here. I think we just finished the whips and everything. So yeah, I don't have a whole lot else to share with you. I think that's mainly it. Today I am looking for more testers for this sweater, and I am grading or fixing my edits on that striped sweater, and then I have to grade the yardage, film a couple more videos, and I'm gonna try and make a mini version of this striped sweater, like a baby version. So I'll probably do that tonight, and then some video editing, and yeah, a lot of stuff to do. So yeah, I'm gonna film a couple of videos. One's gonna be 15 tips for swatching, and another one is gonna teach you how to grade the yardage if you're designing a project. So it could be a sweater, it could be anything. It'll show you how to grade the yardage for it. So yeah, I gotta go film those and finish everything and edit. Not a whole lot of knitting in my future today, mainly just computer work, but that is kind of the majority of what I do. So yeah, that's kind of the real life behind the scenes of being a designer, I guess. So I'll have to get to that, and I will hopefully see you guys in the next episode. Maybe I'll get some more knitting content for you by next week. Fingers crossed. I'm gonna try and grade a couple of patterns, which I try and do before I actually knit them, and then I'll knit the samples next week. Hopefully there'll be more to share. Oh, and there's a free sock pattern coming out next week, so I'll have that to share. Yeah. So if you want to follow along, I'm on Instagram at Blue Mouse with an underscore at the end. I'm the most active there if you're interested for seeing more behind the scenes. Yeah, see you guys next week.